The next thing I want to do is just bring some coolness into it. So we're going to put some shadows into the hair and maybe just do some of the darker points as well. And yeah, see how that looks after that. And I still want to do this shadow in here at some point. But let's put something in the hair. I'm not going to go all the way around. I'm not just going to do a big block. I'm just going to probably go up here. You can see on the reference that it's dark up to here. Up to here. And on the other side it's sort of darkness here, so I'll probably just do that and maybe leave the top. We'll see how it looks. I'm going with a number 5 round, and now we're going in with the darker mix, which on this occasion is a bit of a kind of purpley colour, which will add a bit of coolness. Hopefully balance the portrait out a bit. Look, it's too warm. So let's just come up here. So there we've got the shape down. Now how do we want to move that around? Let's just bring that up here. Maybe just soften a bit of that edge as well. Okay, and then we'll do the same on this side. Might switch to a smaller brush and go for a number 4. Yeah. And we're just going to come in here. And then up here. Just roughly following where the darker points are on the reference. Doesn't have to be exact at all. And then clean the brush, get the water, and then pull it out. I think I'll leave this quite like that. And now we want to add some, as you can see that coolness has balanced the portrait out already. So now we want to go in probably with the eyes, work our way down. I might actually make the mouth, the lips all a bit cooler, and I might put some cooler shadows down towards this part of the face. See what happens. And then that will balance out, having the coolness here and the coolness at the top. That may balance it out. So these decisions I'm kind of making as we go along, really. But let's put some on the eye. I don't want to go too heavy on the eye, but let's start with the eyebrow, see how that looks. Again, I don't want to go too heavy. I'm just looking at where the darkest points are on the reference. And you can either make it a bit more like that, where it's a kind of got edges to it, or you can make it more of a shape. I think I'm gonna make it more of a shape. Maybe just leave that there. So it's just suggesting maybe a little bit just here to show that it is coming round there. actual eye. So there's things you can do with the eye, the iris and the, well, I don't do the pupils, but with the iris. What do I want to do with that? I could make it cooler. So let's do the top there. And then we could actually make the iris darker. If I don't like it, we've got to be quick. But I could get the tissue on it and rub it out if I didn't like how it looks, but I think that's okay, that's subtle. And I might even just go into this, get rid of this white. Never want to leave the pupils white, you know, we don't want to leave that like that, because pupils aren't white, they're actually quite bluey grey kind of colour. Okay, then we want to go onto the other eye. Again, let's give the eyebrow some definition. You know, the hair on the reference, the hairs of the eyebrow actually kind of spike up here, but I don't want to get too detailed. I'm just doing it roughly where it is. And we'll probably do a similar thing on the eye. This is pretty dark around here, so let's just now, do we want to make that iris the same as that, or do we want to have that contrast? Let's colour in that. Just remember that, you know, remind yourself we want it to be relatively abstract, so we don't want it to look too real. I'm not sure, I think that's a bit heavy. Let's just come in over this and see what it looks like. See, I'm not too keen on that. I'm going to sponge that out a bit. Yeah, let's leave that. I might come back to that. I'm sure this is a bit too dark for my liking. I'm just going to take a bit of that out. Okay. So let's some on the nostrils. Again, sticking with the the darkest paint. Not actually coming out that dark. See, the more times you wash the brush and you go back into these pools, they will get a little bit lighter, so just bear that in mind. You sometimes have to then darken them up again. Okay, we'll leave that for the time being. I think what I might do while we're using this kind of cooler colour, I might bring that into the moustache here. If we can, while that's still wet there, See what happens if we bring that down here. Let that bleed into there. And then we can connect that into the top lip. I think I want to make that a bit darker, a bit cooler I should say. See, it's not really there, but I'm making another shape over the top to add these different layers that are crisscrossing, which adds more interest. Let's bring that down there. And then I want to bring this into that top lip. And I just want to make this a lot cooler. We'll go into the gap in the mouth. Again, later on I'll make that even darker. But for now I'm just gonna that looks cool. Okay. And again, we can come down here, but we're going to go up the other way. So rather than coming down here for this side of the moustache, we're going to go up. See, that's quite dark. So I'm going to clean the brush and then make that a bit because this is all quite dark in the reference. Probably the darkest point on the face apart from the hair and under here, so let's I like how this is looking. Just soften that up. And again with these at the end when we're going to add some more colour to it, the colour pops if you like. This nose will pop out around here, so this won't look so sort of brown and flat. We'll add some colour to that. But we need to kind of accentuate this, and I think as the lower we go, I'm going to make this bluer, cooler as we come down. Yeah, so I think we'll again go to the darkest point, which would be here, and then we'll move that shape out. So I'm going to get a slightly larger brush, go for number 5. Go for the darkest bluey purpley colour. I'm going to come in here. Careful not to go over the edge. And you have to be pretty quick. The darker the pigment, the quicker it will kind of dry, so you have to be pretty quick now. And I get plenty of water. Just move that around. I'm probably going to bring that up as the shadow for here. Yeah. Just neaten that line up. And we could probably add a bit of that coolness coming up here, so let's just get some more water, not too much of this. Do we want to break this? Maybe not. I like this nice flat shape, but we do need to put something in here to highlight the cheekbone, or the shadow of the cheekbone. I'm going to put this shape in here. Let's go for the slightly smaller. In fact, while we're down there, I'm going to bring that around while it's still wet under there. That's too much. Let's just, there, that's better. Okay, so yeah, let's go and do the shape up here. So I'm just going to go in with, it's still quite light there, so probably red one on this. Nothing too heavy, but I just want to get a nice shape in here, overlap here, make it more interesting. It's these kind of overlapping shapes that we end up doing that, see, that actually comes, I'm going to cross that onto that one. It's these shapes that add the overall interest to the effect. See, look, I like that, that looks cool. And what we can do is we can add more of these shapes around to add that kind of effect. I might actually bring that up. Yeah. We could use this rather than doing this shadow here, cool, we could use the red one. Let's get a slightly bigger brush, number 5, and let's try put a shadow in here, see how it looks. If it doesn't look good, then I can quickly get the tissue on it and rub it out, but hopefully it won't. So let's get the shape in. So this is where I could actually break the face, the outline of the face. And then so I've got the shape down. Do I want to stretch it out? I think I will. I think we'll go out here. Because the shadow runs kind of like this. Just going to loosely suggest that. Okay, and on the other side where this shadow here, I'll probably end up bringing that around there, and that'll be the kind of the bits that, the shapes that come out from the edge of the face. But it's starting to look good. I think we'll give that a try now.